I've had some early hands-on time with the entire S25 lineup, and here is everything you need to know. Physically, the S25 and S25 Plus look nearly identical to last year's S24 series, with the only exception being the lens design, which now matches the Fold 6 and Flip 6. The S25 Ultra, on the other hand, does get some significant changes. The rounded sides are now completely flat, and the corners are more rounded compared to the S24 Ultra. This makes the S25 Ultra look more like a bigger version of the S25 and S25 Plus, instead of having its own unique design. We do get some new colors though. The S25 and S25 Plus get mint, navy blue, which looks amazing in person, silver shadow, and icy blue. The S25 Ultra gets its own color set with Titan white silver, Titan silver blue, Titan gray, and Titan black, which is the one I'll be pre-ordering. There's also some exclusive colors on Samsung's website that I'll have linked below if you're interested. The displays on the S25 and S25 Plus are physically the same size as last year, with the same resolution, the same dynamic AMOLED 2X technology, and even the same Victus 2 glass. But the S25 Plus does have one significant improvement that it stole from Samsung's TVs. That technology is the ProScaler, which we'll talk more about a bit later. First, let's take a look at the S25 Ultra screen, because that's where we do see some significant upgrades. For starters, the bezels are now smaller, giving us a 0.1 inch larger display in the same form factor as the S24 Ultra. The front glass also gets upgraded to Gorilla Armor 2 for even more scratch and shatter resistance. That said, the screen resolution remains the same as last year. The bezels aren't the only things that have slimmed on the S25 Ultra. Samsung was also able to reduce the weight by 15 grams, which may not sound like much, but from an engineering perspective, it's pretty impressive. The S25 Plus and S25 also shed some pounds with a 7 and 6 gram reduction respectively. And the body of all three devices gets marginally smaller year over year, but it won't be terribly noticeable. One of the big S25 rumors was centered around MagSafe, and here's where we get some disappointing news. The phones do not have built-in MagSafe capabilities. Instead, Samsung's releasing their own line of MagSafe cases to go with the S25 series, including the S25 Ultra, and Samsung assures me that their cases are made to not affect the S Pen, which was an issue on some third-party MagSafe cases on the S24 Ultra. Another bit of disappointing news is that the batteries in all three devices remain the exact same as last year, with the exact same wired and wireless charging speeds as well, so don't expect any massive battery life improvements or faster charging. The cameras on both the front and back of the S25 and S25 Plus remain completely unchanged from last year as well, with the exception of improved processing thanks to the Snapdragon 8 Elite chip, which we'll talk more about in a minute. The S25 Ultra, on the other hand, gets a huge upgrade to the ultra-wide camera, bumping from a 12 megapixel sensor up to a 50 megapixel sensor. Samsung says this should make a significant improvement to macro photography, which are those super up-close photos, and any photos that are in the 0.6 times to 1 times zoom ranges. The three other cameras on the S25 Ultra remain unchanged, but thanks to the new Snapdragon chip, we should see a significant improvement to low-light photos and videos because Samsung's now analyzing every single pixel and checking for artifacts or noise that happen as a result of a dark environment. If there is an artifact, then it'll check the 8 pixels around it and use AI to correct the pixel. And yes, this works for both photos and videos. Moving and static objects are also independently identified now, which allows Samsung to process them differently and reduce blur. If this lives up to the hype, these camera upgrades are gonna be huge. Now, I did ask Samsung if these noise and motion blur improvements were coming to the S25 and S25 Plus or just the Ultra, and I haven't gotten a response, so once I figure that out, I'll put the note in the pinned comment below. A massive camera upgrade that's definitely coming to all three devices is the addition of log recording. That's right, you can get unfiltered video that you can apply your own LUTs to, and this works in both Pro Video and regular video modes. And if none of this makes sense to you, just know that it's a huge improvement for experienced videographers. Something that's great for everyone is that HDR10 Plus has now come out of beta and is on by default. This will give you more details in both the shadows and bright areas of your videos and be able to capture a wider range of colors. The entire camera interface also gets an overhaul, with the modes now being moved to the very bottom for easier access, a smaller More menu that lets you still see your camera preview, and the shortcuts dropping into an easy-to-reach menu for one-handed access. You'll also see a new HDR toggle in the upper right corner, since that mode's now on by default. That said, I only recommend turning this off if you need to save some storage space, since HDR10 Plus does make a significant difference in the quality of the video. Now let's talk about some performance upgrades. The Snapdragon 8 Elite chip brings far more than just some camera improvements. We're talking huge improvements to NPU, CPU, and GPU performance, including a 40% increase in ray tracing capabilities. So gaming should be noticeably better on the S25 series. But again, I won't know for sure until I get a chance to test it out myself. To cool this chip, Samsung has increased their vapor chamber size by a whopping 40% in the S25 Ultra, allowing for better heat dissipation and longer gaming sessions. And in case you forgot, the S24 Ultra also had a 40% increase in its vapor chamber size over the S23 Ultra. So if you're coming from an S22 Ultra or S23 Ultra, this is a dramatic increase. And the S25 and S25 Plus weren't forgotten here. Those are also getting a respectable 15% bump in vapor chamber size. And remember the Pro Scaler that I mentioned at the beginning of the video? You know, the technology that Samsung uses in their TVs to dramatically upscale any image on the screen? Yeah, well, that's coming to the S25 Plus and S25 Ultra, and it's always running. This means that any photo or videos that you guys view on your phone, even poor quality ones from social media posts or text messages, will automatically be upscaled in real time to give you a better viewing experience on an S25 series than pretty much any other phone. I can't wait to test this out to see how well it works. A surprise new feature is that Samsung Wallet will soon support peer-to-peer transactions, so you can tap your phones together to split a bill with friends. Samsung Wallet's also getting a buy now, pay later option that should work in any store that accepts MasterCard or Visa cards, and this basically lets you pay your bills in installments instead of upfront in one shot. But we don't yet have all the details about how this works, like what the interest rates are or how the payment plans work, so we'll just have to wait and see. Before we get into some absolutely mind-blowing AI features, let's take a quick look at the full specs list and pricing. As you can see, the S25 series keeps the same pricing as last year with the same storage options, but the base model gets a bump from 8GB of RAM up to 12GB of RAM to match the rest of the devices. And right now, just for the pre-order period, I've got an exclusive $50 bonus credit for you guys with the links in the description and pinned comment. And this credit works on top of the insane pre-order deals that Samsung's currently running. So if you want to maximize your savings, now's the time to do it. And one important detail about that $50 bonus deal is that it's unfortunately for US residents only, and the deal expires 30 minutes after you click the link. So if it takes you longer than 30 minutes to make a decision, you'll just have to click the link again to reset the timer. I've really been working on negotiating a fix for this, but have so far been unsuccessful. Alright, moving on to artificial intelligence. This easily takes center stage on the S25 series. For the unacquainted, Gemini is a fully conversational AI assistant that can handle conversations like a normal person. So, for example, you can ask it for a seafood restaurant nearby and then change your mind mid-sentence and ask for a barbecue restaurant. Gemini can understand that and give you the correct results. It's also context aware, so you can ask follow-up questions like navigating to one of the recommended restaurants. And you can even do multiple tasks in a single prompt, like asking it when an upcoming sports game is and adding that to your calendar so you don't miss it. This can all be done in a single command. And now that Samsung's apps have been integrated with Gemini, you can now do things like ask to see your photos from a wedding that you went to recently, or photos of a trip to another country, and it'll quickly bring all of those photos up. And I'm just scratching the surface on what Gemini can do on the S25 series, so if you want to see a deep dive into this, consider subscribing and turning on notifications. Besides Gemini, Samsung's also made some huge improvements to Smart Select and has renamed it AI Select. This can now recognize what's on your screen and give you specific recommendations for different actions based on what it sees. So if it sees a person, it'll suggest the new Drawing Assist feature. This lets you use text prompts and select different styles to modify the image using artificial intelligence, and it works surprisingly well. If you select text with AI Select, it'll bring up the AI text editor to modify, improve, or summarize the text, which is great for taking notes or sending better emails. The new AI features don't stop with still images though. Samsung's added an incredible AI video editor that can extract the individual sounds from a video, like wind, crowd noise, static type noise, your voice, and more. And it lets you independently increase or decrease the volume of just those isolated sounds. I was able to see a demo of this and it was wildly impressive, but I'll have to test it out for myself to know just how good it really is. I showed you guys a preview of the Now bar in my One UI 7 video, but Samsung takes things a step further on the S25 series with a new feature called Now Brief. This analyzes your habits and is aware of what's on your schedule, so it can do crazy things like suggesting to leave at 15 minutes early for work if there's going to be bad weather, or suggest changing your alarm if you have an early meeting in the morning, or even suggest changing the temperature in your room when you sleep because your Galaxy Watch detected a better night's sleep when your smart thermostat was set to a specific temperature. Yeah, this is crazy, and I'm only scratching the surface here. And I'm sure at this point, some of you might be like, whoa, that's way too much info to be giving some AI, and what if someone else gets that data? Well, fortunately, Samsung has a one-way system that they call their personal data engine. Basically, the engine can reach out into your apps to get information, but the apps can't reach in to get information. So even if you download some awful virus, it won't be able to get access to any of that data. Plus, you can always just go into your settings and turn off the feature and delete the data if you'd like. The S25 series are also going to be the first Samsung devices to launch with One UI 7, which is Samsung's latest user interface. And if you haven't noticed yet, this is a complete overhaul. From the new camera layout that I showed you a few minutes ago, to a brand new set of app icons, and even a brand new notification shade that splits your notifications and quick toggles into two separate panels that you can swipe back and forth between. In fact, there are so many changes that I made a dedicated 28-minute video showing you all the new features on One UI 7, which I had early access to on my S24 Ultra. So you can click this link here to check that out, or click the links below if you want massive savings on the S25 series during the pre-order period. Those are affiliate links, and you guys using those is literally the only way I can afford to purchase all the tech products I review on this channel. So a massive thanks to those of you who use my links. That's it for this tech episode. God bless, guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.